Hello everybody, it's me, the Raw Local Maniac. I'm back again with another 8-Bit Wars. Now as you can see, today I'll be playing International Karate Plus, aka IK Plus. Now this is one of my favourite beat-em-ups on the 8-bit computers. Now, as always with the 8-Bit Wars, we're going to start off with the ZX Spectrum, move on to the Amstrad, and then finally the Commodore 64. Now, the reason why I love this game so much is it's a little bit different from most beat-em-ups that were on the ZX Spectrum or the other 8-bit computers, and this basically took it up to another level by adding an extra player into the mix, and it absolutely worked. You'd think that it wouldn't work though, facing left and right, but it's just the ease of it. Your character control is absolutely fantastic. And the best thing is though, there's so many moves that you can do. I mean, that you've got a flying kick, you've got a headbutt, you've got like a leg sweep, a punch to the gut, you've got like a split kick in the air that you can do. There's loads of moves and it's so easy to pull off when you think all you had was just a joystick and one fire button, so it works fantastically. Now the next thing I want to talk about in this particular 8-bit Wars, I want you to listen to the music. I'm going to be quiet for a second or two, I'll try my very best, and check out this music. Now how amazing is that music? That music is absolutely phenomenal, it sounds really amazing. Now unlike the other versions, you've got a white player, you've got a grey player, and you've got a black player. And that's because there's no colour in the foreground. There's only colour in the background, but I'll get to the background colour in a second or two. Now this is a nice, interesting bonus level, and what you have to try and do is deflect those bowling balls that the sensei's chucking at you. Don't know why he's chucking bowling balls at you, but apparently it improves your martial arts skills. It starts off nice and simple, and then it just starts slowly to speed up. This is pretty easy compared to the Commodore 64 version. It's about same as the Amstrad version, maybe a little bit easier than the Amstrad version. And as you can see, slowly they're sort of speeding up now. I don't know whether this goes on forever or whether if you get a certain amount of points it stops, because I've never been that good enough to sort of go on and on and on this. So anyway, what I was saying before, the background colour, the background looks absolutely amazing there. You've got the beautiful blue sky there, you've got the sun on the lake or whatever it is, or the sea, and it's just sort of like shining away, that's glistening away. Absolutely amazing. Now I thought basically guys that this was a definitive version of International Karate until I played the other two back in the days, and I was like, wow, oh my god. So I played it on my cousin's Amstrad, and then I also played the Commodore 64 version at my friend's house, so I had to rush out and get it on my Amstrad and also on my Commodore 64. Now if you think this looks good, wait till you see the other two versions. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this version, I think this version is absolutely fantastic, but it is sadly lacking in a few things that the other versions do actually have. Right, so this is the Amstrad version of International Karate Plus. Now once again guys, I'd like to apologise if the sound's out of sync, but that's due to the way I'm recording it. It just doesn't work well with the WinApe for some bizarre reason. Now the first thing that this has got over it straight away, it's full colour. Look at the colour on this, it's absolutely beautiful. You've got a white fighter there, you've got the purple one, and you've got the red one, and you've got Mr. Miyagi there wearing the yellow. And now listen to that music guys, how amazing is that music? That music is just phenomenal. Now what this also does have, it's got some sound effects when you hit people. It's got like a sound like if you're actually punching someone's face or kicking someone's head in, and it sounds really good. And once again I'd like to apologise for the sound being out of sync. So here once again we're on the bonus level here. Starts off nice and slow, and just like the Spectrum version it starts to speed up that little bit better. Sorry, a little bit better. It starts to speed up that little bit faster until it just basically becomes impossible. There are really multicoloured bowling balls in this version. Now again, let's quickly talk about the background graphics there. They look absolutely fantastic. Beautiful colours there on the sky, the tree there, the sun reflecting on the lake or whatever it is. And I think the sprites look that little bit better than they do on the Spectrum. They don't quite look as chubby. On the Spectrum they look like they've got a bit of a beer belly. But the music is absolutely phenomenal in this game. It improves on the Spectrum by so much. It's got the colour, the sprites look a little bit better, it's got full colour, it's got sound effects, and yeah, basically this is a huge improvement over the Spectrum. So I was so jealous when I first played this at my cousin's house. But the overall gameplay is pretty much exactly the same. It controls pretty much exactly the same thing. But with all these little extra things that I've mentioned, do make it a better game than the ZX Spectrum version. When you play this version, the Commodore 64 version, the Spectrum version doesn't quite feel the same afterwards. Right, so here comes the ultimate version, guys. You know what? I'm not going to sort of like try and drag this out. This is the ultimate version of International Karate on the 8-bit computers. Once again, you've got the Mr. Miyagi guy down there. There we go. So you've got the white player, the red fighter, and the blue fighter there. Now, if you thought the sound effects on the Amstrad were pretty good, this is absolutely amazing. You've got some really sort of like painful, sort of like sounding grunts and kicks and punches. Sounds awesome when you just hit someone on the back of the head and you smack them, or when you punch someone in the gut. It's just phenomenal. Beautiful animation there once again. Everything moves at an amazing rate. You know, it flows very well. The animation's amazing. And speaking about animation, check out the background. Now, it was all pretty much static on the other two versions, but sometimes you've got little dolphins, you've got little spiders and things that appear. So it's got all these little touches that, you know, that make the game that little bit extra special. Now, that bonus thing is probably the hardest out of all the 3 different versions. And I think this is probably the toughest out of the 3 versions as well. I love the sound effects. Listen to that music. Now, that's the other thing I want to talk about. How amazing is that music? The music on this version is just phenomenal. It really adds so much atmosphere to the game. And especially with all those grunts, kicks, punches, smacking sounds, it sounds phenomenal. It's an amazing game. I mean, there we go. It's a little dolphin, or is it a fish? Earlier on, there was some sort of like birds flying in the background. Now, I normally don't like to give away what the 8-bit war winner is, but you know what? This was a bit too predictable. I think anyone that was watching this will definitely know that this was going to be the winner of today's 8-bit war. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with this Spectrum version, the Amstrad version. But like I said, it's the same thing, you know, like when I played the Amstrad version, it was a lot better than the Spectrum version. It had a lot more than the Spectrum version, and this has a lot more than the Amstrad version. I mean, this bit is incredibly tough. Look at this. I'm going to go for it now. You need lightning sort of like reflexes. How good am I, eh? Haha. Crap. Oh, man, that's amazing. Commodore 64 is the winner. See you next time, guys. Goodbye.